Get back downstairs. You can't answer the door in those clothes.
I'm not answering in these clothes. I'm going out in these clothes. These are my clothes for going out in.
Well, that's not your door for going out in. Downstairs and through the area.
Area? What is area?
Oh.
Oh.
Is my brother in?
Completely. Asleep.
Still?
Still? Well, that I think depends. When did you last observe him so?
But it's nearly noon.
No. It's only nearly 11:30.
You may safely admit
Yes,
me.
you have introduced yourself. Unless your brother has more than one sister.
He hasn't. And you've introduced yourself too. With your accent. If it's Swedish.
It is. How do you do, as the English say, never expecting to be told. Good morning. Cab.
Oh!
Good morning, Sarah.
I didn't expect you back today, Miss Elizabeth.
I know.
You wasn't up there long, hardly a long goodbye.
That's all it was just now, too.
Hmm?
When the captain went out.
Captain Ritson? I thought he was still asleep.
No, it's my brother who is. I trust Edward isn't too.
Edward? Didn't he just answer the door to you?
I'm sure he didn't, unless he's caught a Swedish accent from our guests and acquired a gentleman's wardrobe. My luggage ticket, Euston. Would you give it to Edward, please? And his cab fare.
I don't think this will be enough, Miss Elizabeth. Even without the extra for the luggage, there's only enough here for one way.
Yes, the way back. The way there, Edward shall walk.
Of course, being a footman. Would that be all, Miss Elizabeth?
No, Sarah. Not quite. When my mother originally interviewed you for the position here, did you wear anything like that?
Like this?
No, Sarah. Like that.
Oh, no, I wasn't in uniform then.
Were you in silk? That's the point.
Point, Miss Elizabeth.
I should think if you were, Sarah, you'd have been recommended to seek employment in Paris.
Don't you like my uniform?
Oh, I quite do. Excepting only that, although so individual, it is a uniform. But when my parents return, greet them in something a little less emancipated.
Emaciated?
I think you've understood me, Sarah. Also, Sarah.
Yes, Miss Elizabeth?
Yes, Sarah. How often do you travel by cab?
Hmm?
Not many an under-house parlour-maid would be expected to know the fare to and fro the first railway station mentioned her.
Oh, well, Miss Elizabeth, I haven't been an under-house parlour-maid very long.
Down, Sarah. In your silk. To the kitchen, please. I should like not morning tea, but coffee. Much of it, black. So I think we'll Captain Ritson. I didn't know I'd got up so late. It was already Monday. Or are you indeed a weekend early?
Father bagged 37 brace yesterday. Mother elucidated that Olive May, a Gaiety girl, will soon become the Countess of Droida. The traffic along the bedroom landings of husbands who had come without wives to the doors of wives who had come without husbands differed from that of Piccadilly only in that the pedestrians wore dressing gowns. Between the slaughter of grouse, reputations and fidelities, I decided that Perthshire in October was no place for a girl with a social conscience.
Oh, Lord, I'd hoped you left yours up there.
At a Scottish house party, consciences are deposited in the kirk. They are visited of a Sunday, dusted off and tucked back out of sight again. I prefer to carry mine on my own shoulders where I can see it.
Like an organ grinder's monkey, always a beck.
Rose caught a cough at the kirk.
Rose?
Armand. who is short for Rosie to our Jewish visitors and for Rosamond to our Gentile. Our head house parlour maid, acting as my duenna.
Oh, Rose.
Rose. Pierce, however, is well. You do remember our chauffeur, now doubling as father's loader.
I also remember Hudson, our butler, now doubling as father's valet. And I see no reason to inquire after the health of every servant who's had to traipse from the basement here to the Highlands without parents.
Which, James, is why you should have gone out to the shoot and not me. You had the appropriate attitude, that of indifference.
How indifferent was Mother when you insulted her Caledonian host by leaving?
Oh, Mother had her reason not to notice mine. Roberts. Do you remember Roberts?
Mother's lady's maid. How is she?
Shattering, as usual.
Huh?
Perhaps it's the moorland weather, the shivering it induces. But in 2 crisp, raw weeks, she's demolished more household ornaments up there than she did down here all summer.
She broke so much down here.
Didn't you notice?
How could I? There's so much knick-knackery littered about the place. It's all a blur to me.
Well, and to me too, but Mother wonders if Roberts might not be best left up there, particularly as the McLuhan children seem to have taken a fancy to her. If she became a nanny, what she broke and what the Mac children broke might prove indistinguishable.
They might even have the goodness to break each other.
Oh, by all means, look debauched, but try not to sound it. So, how have you found Sarah?
Sarah?
I distinctly heard you address her by name in the hall just now, so I am confident you need not be reminded who, or rather, what she at least is.
I distinctly didn't find her. You found her in a queue for hot soup. You also reinstalled her here.
On approval. So, has she proved satisfactory? Should, in short, Sarah be retained?
I hardly noticed the girl.
Well, that is a recommendation in itself. But this isn't. She dusts around.
Oh, steady on. Oh. Well, there's so much dust here. Alice must have started you.
Oh, no, Rose would have seen. What do you mean?
I mean, you can't say that, because if Rose had seen, she'd have reprimanded Alice and had her dust never again around at all.
If there'd been anything to see.
If she'd seen it, if there had been.
Alice?
Rose,
I don't think you followed me.
I don't think you've quite made yourself clear.
As clear as the litter you've left on the floor.
Huh?
Well, no doubt picking it up might occupy Sarah, but one should set servants not any tasks, but examples. Dropping cigar bands on the floor, as you just did, is only slightly more civilized than spitting out cigar ends. Is that what you propose to do next?
I pierced my cigar, didn't you notice? And threw the band in there, look.
Threw it so hard it bounced off the flames?
Huh?
And over the room, through the door to there? And I do fancy I can just perceive an expectorated cigar end.
Extraordinary. I could have sworn it. You and Axel aren't going to get along, I fear. Cigar bands are neither here nor there to him either.
Axel?
Captain Ritson.
You are saying it is your guest who has behaved like a pig down here this morning and not yourself?
My guest has the cleanly habits of his race. Did I not tell you he would be a Swede?
Sure he is.
You should not be surprised, therefore, to hear that he is where he is every morning, hard on noon, still in his bath.
Oh, yes, I should be.
I confess it's a place not commonly frequented by Englishmen every morning, let alone week.
I think you're mistaken, James. I think. However scrubbed, he has been a trot and a snuffle about this house while you snored, in your own porcine way, soundly on.
He is also an officer and a gentleman. I trust, Elizabeth, when I introduce you to him, you will use language that justifies my describing you as my sister. Pig isn't a word one commonly associates with breeding.
Isn't it? I thought that to breed was the purpose of a pig. Hence the expression, all men are pigs.
I have never observed, nor heard of it observed, a man give birth.
No, it's invariably women who bear the consequences of swinish behaviour. Other than to behave like a pig, what was the purpose of your guest in turning Mother's favourite room into a sty?
Well, if anybody did, I did.
A noble pretence, James. But as one who does all things by halves, you are not capable of such squalidity.
Well, apparently I was this morning.
Apparently?
Well, who else could have been? It is Sarah's first morning duty to clean these rooms. Since then, the only cigar smoker to set foot, or should I say trotter, in them has been myself. Me. Too much schnapps last night.
Too much what?
A Scandinavian beverage. Axel brought a barrel.
Hardly having noticed, Sarah, how can you so surely adumbrate her duties?
Huh?
To the extent of being in any way confident she touched this room at all this morning.
Oh, you smudged the wall. I am confident, Elizabeth, because apart from palpably lighting the fire, she's also palpably tidied away my cigar case.
What cigar case?
The cigar case I left there last night.
You've never had a cigar case?
I have now.
Abracadabra, a cigar case. An invisible one.
No. I repeat, the captain is a Swede.
We were discussing a fictitious cigar case, not an unsalubrious foreigner.
Swedes! And I'll tell you, Elizabeth, I'd rather be a pig than a prig. Have the civilized habit of bringing gifts to their host. He brought me a very splendid cigar case. Even had the pleasant thought to have it inscribed not only with my initials, but the crest of my regiment.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yes, gold all through. You'll melt it down, or? Or? Might it have more value as the frame it is? I haven't seen one like it before.
Oh, it would be sacrilege to separate it from the portrait. This is Tudor.
You'll burn the portrait.
Burn it? No, no.
Yes, yes, it's a family heirloom. Could be very easily traced.
Not on the continent.
Ah.
Ah. Take it to high school in Amsterdam. I shall accept 30% of his 25%.
It's worth my trouble. I was sailing straight to Stockholm.
It's worth more than all you brought me since you came to London.
Well, there are another 6.
I advise you strongly to attend to them, forgetting all else. This, however, is by no means glass.
And it is by no means of irresistible value.
Leave it. I'll reset the diamond in an engagement ring.
I'll leave you this instead.
By itself, this is scarcely worth leaving.
But with the other pieces from the set.
How will you bring them? One by one?
None by none. Keep that one for surrendering.
Surrendering? To whom?
I shall tell you before I leave. Skål. En snaps smakar bra även ur en engelsk kaffekopp.
Den smakar bra. Gör vad som helst. Skål. A nice shield. Worth melting.
Have a cigar.
You will see my cigar case when Sarah returns it to me.
There's no need to bluster, James. It's a sign of mendacity.
I am indifferent to your insults. You always were a spiteful sister. You're aging into a worse spinster.
Sticks and stones, James, break no bones.
You got that wrong. Not bones, crones. Is that why you've come back so early? Assumed, have you, so correctly that my guest is a bachelor.
Oh, really, Jimmy child?
Curiosity thrilled the cat, huh?
I will decide the precise curiosity value of your cigar-biting friend when he returns. At the moment, I'm fully occupied by Mother's request to see if the maid I've engaged is proving satisfactory.
If by that you mean Sarah, stop play-acting. I heard you tell the girl not to wear silk, so you decided to retain her before you arrived.
That was before she took so long to bring the coffee you ordered.
Oh, well, if I've forgotten it, why shouldn't she? Didn't you hear me mention Axel to her? Isn't it possible that she is listening for him to come down, not wishing my coffee to get cold while I, polite as ever, await him?
Captain Axel Ritson has come down. And Captain Axel Ritson has gone out.
When?
He passed me at the door. And I told Sarah so.
Really? Never known to get up before noon previously? Except on manoeuvres?
He didn't impress me as a rip.
Why should he have?
Well, with this hint and that, you led me to expect one. Instead, I saw a man who looked the part, but behaved like a metronome.
I led you to expect someone who'd come and go while you were away.
Ah, am I untimely?
Huh?
Have you been romping here?
Romping?
Schnapping. I never knew that beverage had the aroma of lavender.
It hasn't.
Well, this sofa has. And that chair exudes attar of roses.
My guest, Elizabeth, is here on his military duties. I am merely returning the hospitality in every possible particular that he afforded me when I was in his country on duty. Romping has nothing to do with it. Find my cigar case, Sarah.
Sir?
I left, Never mind.
Sarah?
Yes, Miss Elizabeth?
What is so special about these?
Hmm?
This and that.
Would they be Chinese?
I mean, Sarah, they appear to be the only ornaments under which you have dusted.
It's just that I'm frightened to break the bigger things, so I don't like to shift them.
I should not have thought you were a girl so easily frightened, Sarah. Perceiving you were still in silk.
Well, I'm only here till Monday.
You may go out this afternoon if you wish.
Hmm?
To remain here after Monday. In the unsilken uniform you would do well to come back with. From your afternoon outing.
Thank you, Miss Elizabeth.
Why disperse these? This belongs in there, and so does that, with the set.
Then Mother dispersed the set. Why shouldn't she?
So that she could put it all back together again when she came back from Scotland.
As she so often says, one must keep oneself occupied.
What has getting up at midday to do with? The gallant captain's military duties? Or shall it transpire that he isn't as much need to recover from these nightly romps as are you?
It has to do, Elizabeth, with the arduous nature of his military duties.
Oh?
I recollect when I was in Sweden observing manoeuvres for the War Office, my duties were so pressing I never got into plain clothes. You will see that the captain suffers the same inconvenience.
By plain clothes you mean what?
That he is so constantly on duty that he invariably wears his regimental uniform. Surely you noticed that at the door.
Well, if that was a uniform, James, it was a most unprecedented one. The colour of snuff and not a brass button in sight.
Good morning.
Morning.
Ah. So early. And so charming. But are you Flossie? Or Flo? I am to guess.
Flossie or Flo who?
This is my sister, Elizabeth.
I assure you I am no less charmed. Elizabeth.
But will Flossie and Flo no less be too when they arrive for their afternoon romp and find me present?
Romp? What is romp?
More to the point, sir. Who are you?
Captain... James, please introduce me.
My sister well knows who you are, Captain Ritson. I didn't hear you go out, nor return.
Out.
Out?
It appears, Captain, that my brother, in the absence of his parents, has been dining your countrymen in this house en masse. Coffee?
Please.
And possibly due to your barrel of schnapps and various of his Flossies and Flows, at least one of them was unable to proceed home until after breakfast.
Breakfast?
Just a little bite of cigar. Flossie or Flo?
Look, listen, up it. round and down, through the bloody area.
Good news, Edward.
And you can get out of your fancy dress. Your little panto's finished. Yours and your captain's.
Who left her luggage there? It's in my way.
The daughter's back, you fool, Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, charming girl. She will amuse the captain.
Look, get back down there. If she sees you, it'll take more than your precious captain to defend you.
Did you drop something?
Yes, a hint as big as... What? My, look who's being so helpful.
You don't mind me helping Mrs. Bridges now, do you?
Well, a cook likes to be helped in her kitchen. Not in my pantry, you know.
And I like manly company.
Well, if I'd have known that, I'd have had you help me out with the luggage just now.
Oh, but that was woman's luggage. Ooh, what is it?
Garlic.
Oh, it's horrible.
Well, if Swedes like it.
Filthy beasts. Not fit for a dago.
Now, Sarah, don't you be so prim, or you'll come to no proper end. I'm sorry I went off at you just now, but, well, you really shouldn't come in the front dressed like that.
Sir, these are my clothes for coming in the front inn.
In England, servants know their place and they get to it through the area.
In Sweden, underhouse parlourmaids do not do the work of kitchen maids.
Now, you leave her alone. She's being helpful because she'd like to stay.
Stay what? A virgin?
Oh, that's an awful thing to say.
Agreed, but I should say in her case, the difficulty would be the opposite. Now, you see this cold, skinny back. Now, it is her back, not a bony breast.
Now, you mind your wicked tongue. You'll need a nice new pin for this.
He needs his tiger stripes on to remind him of what an insignificant little person he is.
Now, in my tiger stripes, I might use the area, but dressed like this, I'll be taken for an English gentleman slipping down to get a working girl into trouble.
English gentlemen don't do that because English working girls won't let them. What do Swedish gentlemen do?
Having been invited, I shall demonstrate.
Ow! I warned you next
Sarah!
time. Wow, look what he did.
Well, you see, virginity is just another word for hysteria, sprung from self-inflicted disappointment.
Foreigners. They're all the same. Different.
Pin in the hall, cigar case on the stairs. What else did you shed, romping your way to bed?
Yes. This time, yes. Flossie and Flo.
What makes you so sure?
Experience. They're acquaintances of James, but I am a gentleman they have not met before, so, like all English ladies consumed by curiosity, they will be punctual.
Your experience should tell you, Captain, that in England, ladies do not call on gentlemen at all.
In Sweden, every woman is a lady to every gentleman. Do you play cards?
What?
Flossie and Flo do. It said they'll stake their clothes in a hand and lose with a smile.
Before luncheon?
Luncheon? If they are as expert as James has promised, the game will not come to a climax until after dinner.
Then bon appetit, or should I say bon romp?
The Dowager Duchess of Emira and the Dowager Marchioness of Colenso.
Ha! Yes. Elizabeth.
This is Captain Ritson.
Ha! Why are you in uniform?
To do battle.
Ha ha! You filled out, hasn't she, Flo? Yes, Flossie. Where did you get that marvellously bloody colour?
Scotland.
Good God! Shut that.
Hey, what's that? We're not in the kitchen.
I've got to go out.
Out for what?
I've got to buy myself a cotton uniform. I've been asked to stay.
Ah, that's good you've been asked. That was a weakness before.
Yeah, but it is not good that you stole the picture. You did, didn't you?
Only to save you the trouble.
Yeah, but you left a mark on the wall.
Who cares? We will not be taking the wall. Now, when you go out... When you go out, I want you to find a messenger and have him deliver this. You shall tell the messenger it's from the embassy of Sweden and that it is urgent. That is what this inscription means in my language. You perceive?
Yeah, but it's addressed to Captain Ritson.
Well?
He's here now.
So here is where you will tell the messenger to deliver. Now in Sweden you will behave like a Swedish girl. That is without question.
Who's going to teach me?
We have time for a quick lesson.
Yes.
It's for you, Axel.
Oh. How intrusive.
From the Swedish embassy, sir. Urgent.
I must ask you to...
Don't retire with it. Indeed, don't you retire at all.
Thank you.
I don't read Swedish.
I am summoned to Stockholm.
Never mind Stockholm.
I regret I must, immediately.
I must remind you, sir, you are ahead.
It is not a position from which an officer and a gentleman may propose to stop play.
I do not propose. This insists.
Will you accept my note for £730?
And mine for 810.
Would you prefer to count your winnings yourself?
Winnings? What gentleman wins from a lady. Please. Hearts. For you, I think, diamonds.
Why do you do it?
Winning is so easy, cheating so dangerous.
But you handsome goose, think of the risk.
I always do, and always survive it.
But one day you will be accused before you've time to explain, and then your reputation will be gone.
That is the essence of the excitement. What more can a man risk than his reputation? And how else so surely, yet innocently?
It's more dangerous than you think. I was pretty sure you were cheating.
No. As a player, you knew I was cheating. As my friend, you weren't quite sure. Now, I may go.
Oh.
I shall shake your hand on my way out in only a few moments. Torquil will remain behind to receive some things I've purchased for gifts upon my homecoming and will follow as best he can.
Torquil?
Torquil Craft, his groom and battler.
Or as the English say, because of the waistcoat, my tiger.
Darling. Darling, this is Torquil's friend.
You are Sarah.
Surprise, yeah?
I never saw so well-dressed an under-house parlour maid.
We're two of a kind, Torquil and me.
But if you are here, that means that he leaves today, yes?
4:30. Message delivered.
You're very calm. Torquil told me what you've agreed to do.
Wait, your parcel.
Oh, my horrible cotton uniform. Still, I'll only have to wear it a couple of hours. If you do what Torquil said you've agreed to.
I shall do it at 4 o'clock sharp. Tell Torquil that.
With this?
With that.
Until 4 o'clock, then. I don't suppose we'll meet again.
Perhaps. He promises me every year he'll show me his Stockholm.
Oh, well, I'll send you a postcard when I get there next week, and I'll get Torquil to send you one as well. Oh, would that be dangerous?
How could it be?
It would be evidence linking us, surely.
Evidence? That is a policeman's word. Besides, aren't you forgetting it won't be a real policeman?
Silly me.
Yes, Sarah. Silly you.
At 4 o'clock.
Good. And then I shall give this back and say my piece.
And I'll get into this and say mine.
Speak to no stranger on the ferry.
Why can't we go across the North Sea together?
I doubt James Bellamy has £200 upon his person. You will most certainly have to wait till the morning. The banks.
But you wait and meet every boat at the Hook of Holland till I come.
Into your cotton. Be ready in 10 minutes. Less.
Come in. Off, are you?
Might I ask you, sir, did you give my master this?
Huh?
When he told me he was going ahead under urgent orders, I opened a suitcase to begin packing. He told me he'd already packed and I should need only to bring his luggage with me, which I found curious. I had the suitcase open, you see, sir, and he saw me perceive this. What was even more curious is that he seemed to have a need to say something about it. To me, his servant. What he said was that you had given it him as a farewell present.
What is even more curious, Kraft, is your behavior as a servant in the absence of your master.
It is not the first time, sir, that I have taken measures to preserve the honor he delights to put at risk. I can best explain by saying that when he plays cards,
Yes.
he
I know. What's the connection with that?
He not only pretends to cheat, he pretends to steal. It's due to the Scandinavian sickness.
Huh?
Boredom, sir. The long winter nights, I believe. Well, unfortunately, last winter was so protracted, I've feared all summer he will for once take too big a risk. He returns these things, you see, with a teasing letter.
Then you'd better take it with you, so that he can have his fun.
I am perturbed. I did not see the contents of the light bag he took.
Please thank him for the schnapps he has left me.
Sets like that always have 10 pieces. Today I can count only 8 in the house, including this one.
Kraft! I am utterly fed up with being asked by all and sundry about the peregrinations of those objects.
Now, it is possible that they were shifted in order to make it more difficult to notice how many remained. The tie-pin you're wearing and that cigar case you're just opening, the captain tried to take them too. I found them and made sure your footman found them too, so to speak. I fear that's why the captain has gone without me. He realizes what I've done and is too furious to tolerate my presence till he's calmed down.
I'm not surprised. It was most uppity of you.
Yesterday I made sure your cook found your cufflinks, and the day before that the under-house parlour maid found your gold pencil. Were you not suspicious about all those objects disappearing?
My objects are always disappearing.
Then, sir, you would not be able to say if everything was in its place now. You do see my point.
No. If anything has disappeared, it will eventually return according to your own statements.
But in what manner, sir? Frequently, to extend the risk, he places pieces in pawn and sends the ticket with the money draft for redemption. Now, what if an item of value arises suspicion? What if the police are advised before the captain has explained? From the way they have returned the things they thought they found, you know you have honest servants. But even so, your whole household will fall under suspicion. What will you tell the police? That a friend took it in jest?
What if red roses turn blue?
You might not be present when the police called, sir. Perhaps your sister would recall the captain from the jeweller's description.
Yes. I apologize. You did well to warn me.
Better surely, sir, if someone with no real reputation to lose sacrificed it.
Huh?
The under-house parlour maid.
Sarah?
The captain, I regret to say, has taste for younger women than the ladies to whom you've introduced him.
Are you daring to suggest...
No, sir, to tell.
I trust she shan't have to bear the consequences of his tastes, but I don't see why she should suffer for his pranks.
She's quite willing to, for suitable compensation.
Ah.
No, sir, not blackmail, compensation. If anything should be brought here by the police, she will then say she pawned it. If you will then say you gave it her.
Good Lord, gave it her? Why?
For services rendered, sir. By night. Except you will hardly need to say so. It's the only explanation to spring to mind.
To a dirty mind.
Policemen are only human too, sir.
And what is Sarah? Any gossip like that in every decent house in London will be closed.
Therefore, if the occasion arises, she will accept £200. 6 or 7 years' wages. I'm sure, too, sir, when the captain hears, he will contribute another 200 and insist upon recompensing you.
And you, Kraft? What will be your reward?
Oh, I have that, sir. Always, in the estimation my master has for me.
Sir?
Eh?
The police, sir, and a person whose name I could not catch. A foreign name, sir.
You sent for me, sir?
Yes, come in, sir, please.
You are Sarah...
I will question my own servants, Inspector. Now, sir, this is a policeman. And this is a jeweller. And they say that a certain person pawned this article this afternoon and was followed back here.
The other piece, not that one.
The one I brought.
Really, does it matter? Was followed back here, Sarah, because the jeweller took it upon himself to think it suspicious that so well-dressed a person should want to pawn anything. Now, Sarah, have you anything you feel you might say about it? I don't know the precise value of it, but I should think it would fetch £200. Maybe £300.
Ah. Well, yes. Have I to tell the truth, sir? All of it?
Anything you have to say?
I pawned it. To him. I'm sorry, sir. I haven't pawned everything you've given me, but I thought, well, if someone was to come into my room and see that, they might tumble to us and...
I'm afraid I shall have to ask you, sir, whether you indeed did give that article to the young woman.
I trust you will then have the discretion to ask no more.
I see, sir. Quite, sir.
I do apologize, sir. I thought... And I apologize to you too, miss. I could have sworn a gentleman pawned it. I must have been dreadfully confused.
Sir?
Eh?
The police, sir, and a lady whose name I could not catch.
Oh! What are you doing here?
What are you?
Good afternoon, Lieutenant.
Hi, Inspector Hurst.
You identify this man as a person?
Certainly not. This man is my husband. And didn't I tell you it was a... That's her.
What is this?
You identify this as your property, sir?
Oh, my mother's, yes. Where did you get it?
I got it. From her. What are you doing here?
I thought that I had received stolen property. I went to the police.
The two of us?
Mm-hmm.
We have two shops, you see. When this girl brought that miniature, I could tell at a glance it was a Hilliard, but I made sure of it with the National Portrait Society. They were able to tell, and it's of enormous value.
Hardly the thing to be given lightly to a servant.
Given? To a servant?
Now I know that I confuse nobody. That was the woman. Good heavens, she's probably been pawning things all over London all afternoon.
I didn't. I bought this cotton uniform. Look!
I must ask you, sir, most regretfully, why you've attempted to shield a thief.
Will you permit a foreigner? As my master left only 2 hours ago, I conclude that Lieutenant Bellamy was concerned that so timely a departure after a robbery might place him under suspicion. And being unaware that anything of real value had been stolen, told, as the English say, a white but noble lie, even if it meant sacrificing his own domestic reputation. I will tell the captain, and I'm sure he will be impressed and touched, sir. I trust I may absent myself from the distressful spectacle of this young miscreant's arrest.
You criminal!
I mean, no doubt of it. And no doubt they will see to it that you will feel quite at home in prison. Au revoir.
Het is ongewoon goed weer voor Amsterdam.
What does he say?
That it is unusually good weather for Amsterdam.
It's raining.
It's his way of saying that the miniatures are genuine.
Ja, beroemd stelletje. Maar...
What now?
He says it's a famous set.
Waar is 7?
But there should be 7.
Jammer, die alleen 6 gestolen heeft.
Yeah, such a pity we stole only 6.
Tell him one had to be sacrificed to my reputation. It was so hard to preserve what's left of it since I was court-martialed over that unfortunate card game with my colonel.